So yes, we are already live on Zoom because our very punctual attendees are already joining us. Thank you very much for being here today with us during our very special subject webinar with wonderful professors, speakers, moderators, and wonderful programs which will be presented today. Actually, there will be 3 of them. So take your chance to ask, because this is your chance to get the very best answer possible, depending on the study program you would like to apply to. You can also ask the questions regarding studying in Germany in general. That's why Annette and I are here, since we are also to some extent international students. Annette is German, but she's also international student in other countries. I'm Georgian and a very international student in Germany, so I will be happy to share with you my own experience. But let's make to make today's webinar very productive, we would highly recommend to ask your questions directly to subject of today's webinar and to the programs which will be presented. And also we would like to ask you to indicate a study program so that it's also easier for us and for moderators to get you the best answer possible. Okay, before we start, I would like to ask Annette to introduce herself and MyGermanUniversity, and later on I will have a very small introduction about computational science field in Germany, and then our major and main part of today's webinar will take place.
Thank you a lot, Nina. I'm also part of MyGermanUniversity, and as Nina said, I am from Germany, born and raised there, so I did my bachelor's there and my master's, and now currently I'm based in Vienna, and I'm visiting University of Vienna, so I'm kind of international student. So even though the language here in this country in Austria is also German, I realized that there's so much difference, and they have even different names for the same things here in Austria than in Germany. So I hope I can help you in this webinar also if you have general questions on higher education system in Germany, in terms in how the procedures is going on. Feel free to ask everything. We have our experts here, which is great, but for general questions, we are also in the background. I have a roommate, she is from Austria, and I ask her a lot. Okay, so that was a few on my side. Now I will present you briefly MyGermanUniversity. So today's topic is computational science. I'm not in a technical field. I studied international cultural and business studies, but this seems really interesting. And I think it's a really cool program. Now I work in another project where there are IT experts, and I really admire them. So I think it's great that we're here now, and I'm really exciting what our experts tell us today. So, but what is MyGermanUniversity? We are hosting this webinar. We are like the bridge between you, international students, and the universities to make the information flows smoother, and to help you and the universities that you find the way to them. So how do we do that? We have Germany's largest database of English taught programs. So if you are interested in the field of IT, you can put it there and search by subject, and then you find different programs. There are a lot of filters. When you click here to the study finder, you can apply all different filters, so languages and IELTS scores, etc. And then there's the article section. You see it here in the banner. There are different articles regarding different topics. So I really can invite you to look them up later. And then we have the webinars, which is, I think, best offer we have for you. And there are always different people here invited in our subject webinars, which is, I think, a great thing. Okay, then we are an international team. Most of us somehow studied in Germany, or abroad. We're international, German, really mixed up. So I will keep it short today since we have a lot of work to done today, and hand it over to you, Nina. Thank you. I will go to the background. There's the Q&A section. You can ask your questions there. There's also the chat. Keep an eye on that. Every now and then I will post some useful links, or our experts can also use the chat. And yeah, that's from my side. Let's have a good webinar.
Thank you very much, Annette. Yeah, you are our best moderator, so I'm sure students will get best of the answers possible, and especially we have so many people from universities, and they will also be happy to answer the questions. All right, let me share my screen to continue very briefly again about studying computational science in Germany. Likewise, Annette, I'm not also an expert in the field, but it's not the main thing, because we have experts who are here for you, and there are 4 of them today, and 3 universities. As you can see, there is Technische Universität Braunschweig, then we have Deggendorf Institute of Technology, and Universität Regensburg. The speakers also you can see on the slide. Later on, I will introduce everyone individually. Regarding the databases and also regarding finding programs in computational science, what you should know is that there are 2 major databases. The first one is Hochschulkompass, which is offered by German Rectors Conference. And if you go to their page, we will share the link later on in a chat. You can search for programs in computational science or related topics, and there are 621 degree programs. A majority of them are in German. And you can see here we have this division. Only 88 programs are in English. Not only, actually, it's a lot, but yeah, it's 88 programs in English. If you are the one who wants to study in English, like I did, or is not so much confident of his or her German, and you want to have major courses in English, then you can use our study finder, which Annette has already shown you. You can see it on a slide in our background. The study finder is really user-friendly and well fit for students, because it has even the function to write your IELTS or TOEFL grade if you already have a certificate, and the program will filter out and show only this study programs which are suitable to you. You can see that we already have some editions which are short courses and language courses, and later on you can be checking this as well. So regarding computational science, there are 328 degree programs in our study finder or in our database, and you can see there are 44 bachelor, 284 master programs. And there is also another division of English only, which means that sometimes the programs have this hybrid mode, or maybe out of 20, not 20, but 10 seminars or modules, 3 or 4 may be taught in German. So therefore, there is also English only section where no German skills are needed. And you can also search for these programs using the filter requirements and then language requirements. If you are the one who is searching for a field and doesn't really know what computational science or computer science is, or just wants to have an overview how this generally programs work in this field in Germany, then you can use our subject page, which will be also shared in chat. And on this subject page, you can see lots of information related to a field, about rankings, about tuition fees, application, language requirements, and so on. And you can also browse for universities and programs there as well. I have mentioned rankings, but I would advise to create your own ranking when assessing a study program, because each study program is really unique. Even though, for example, today we have 3 different study programs presented from a from one field, they are all different. Therefore, you should decide for you what is the best for you, be it tuition fees, be it language of instruction, or maybe some specific seminars or modules which you would really like to have. Sometimes programs have even some concentration on research and so on. Therefore, you should be the ranking creator and then apply to the universities accordingly or to study programs. Also, another important thing is the higher education system in Germany, which is roughly saying divided into two major groups. So there are universities, which also include technical universities, and there are universities of applied sciences. Both of them have programs in computational science, and you can see on a slide we have the first group, roughly saying, which is universities, and it has 142 programs in this field. Regarding universities of applied sciences, they also provide some programs in computational science, and the number is 128. Why is this division important? Mainly, you can see on the table that there are no major differences. The major difference is the focus of the studies. So universities are more research or theory oriented, and universities of applied sciences are more practice or application oriented. So our professors are also here. If I missed something or did not say something very exactly, then you're very welcome to correct me. I will learn from you as well. And also, whenever we are saying that we have a study finder where you can study subjects in the field of computational science. So does not mean that all programs are called Bachelor in Computational Science or Master in Computational Science. The wording can be different. And some of the examples are visible on a slide. So the study finder will filter out everything for you, and you get the results on the page. Okay, I will not talk a lot now, and I would like to present our first special guest, Professor Jänicke, who is director of the Institute of Applied Mechanics from Technische Universität Braunschweig. And he will be talking about the master program in computational science and engineering. We have two pictures on a slide as well, where one is a map so that you know where you go your next semester. And on the left side, you can see the international outlook of the university, which also is really important. And from the same university, I would briefly like to introduce Ms. 𝘗𝘕𝘓𝘕, who is program coordinator, and she will be talking today, or she will be answering your questions regarding admissions, if you have some, maybe in Q&A, or I saw that she was already answering in chat some of the questions. So thank you very much for already being so much active. I will stop sharing my screen right now, and the floor is yours, Professor.
All right, let me share my screen instead. Yeah, now you should see my screen. Thanks a lot for the kind introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and to see the students and to be able to present you a few slides about our master program in computational sciences and engineering. And since we are lazy here, we typically use the abbreviation CSE. As already introduced, my name is Ralf Jänicke of the Institute of Applied Mechanics. And in this program, I'm mainly responsible for modules and courses in solid mechanics and finite element analysis. Yeah, and as already also mentioned, Annika Kleinwächter is also with me, the program coordinator, and she will also be happy to help me to answer your questions. Before I start to give you some information about the course and the program, so probably you also had a look already in advance on the web pages, I would like to spend a few slides and a few words also on the city of Braunschweig, because we really have a pleasure to live and to work in a beautiful and vibrant city here almost in the center of Germany. And I would like to start with this nice panorama of the city square, the central square in the city, where you see a line in the center, which actually you find quite often across the city, because this used to be the symbol of the former dukes of Braunschweig. Nowadays, there are no dukes anymore, but there's their old castle, there are nice churches and nice squares, even though this must be during pandemic times, no one on the streets. Nowadays, hopefully it's a bit more crowded again. Okay, not everyone probably knows where Braunschweig is. We have seen that roughly on the map, but nevertheless, let's put the map here on the screen again. This is Germany in green, and dark green, this is the state of Lower Saxony, Niedersachsen, as we say in German. And what I also would like to spot here, other than, or not only Braunschweig, is the TU9, where TU Braunschweig is very proud to be part of. So TU9, that's the group of the strongest universities of technology in Germany. To the east, that's Berlin, that's Dresden here. You see Munich in Bavaria, Stuttgart, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, Darmstadt, Aachen, and very close to our place here, that's Leibniz University of Hanover. And actually, we are here. That's Braunschweig. If we have a closer look on the map again, Germany now, it looks more green even. That's where we are, and this also gives an idea how central this place is. So we have, if you take the train, it takes 1.5 hours roughly to end up in Berlin. To the north, it's the beautiful city of Hamburg, and if you fly in from abroad, then most likely you will end up here in Frankfurt Airport. That's also a very fast train connection between Braunschweig and Frankfurt. It's a very central position. Let's zoom in a bit. Here we have Braunschweig again. Before we'll say you something about the closer vicinity, maybe Braunschweig, we love working and doing research, but we also love to spend our time and relax in nature. And I would like just to highlight here this very nice region, which is called, very strange German word, Harz. That's a region of mountains, which are not so super high, but at least above 1,000 meters, and perfect for any type of outdoor activities. In summer, hiking, climbing. In wintertime, you can go for cross-country or downhill skiing. And if you don't want to do too much sports, you can also take a steam train from 𝘱𝘍𝘕𝘪𝘐 to go on the highest mountain of this region, which is called Brocken. And the fairy tale says that now in that time of the year, then the witches would fly around the mountain tip. I haven't seen them yet, but maybe you will discover them. Another place close to Braunschweig, which is not such a big city, but it's a very, maybe you have heard about that, it's Wolfsburg. Actually, that's the headquarters of Volkswagen sitting there. And Volkswagen and the industry related to that is really a big player here in the region. That's just 20-25 kilometers away from Braunschweig. And Volkswagen and the suppliers, they're also the major employers here in Braunschweig, in the city of Braunschweig. And finally, a last zoom, then you see here really the city. You see that's the historical city center, which is actually medieval. And there's this nice small river, Oker, floating to the left and to the right, and then basically like an island here. It's very, very nice, and nice to spend time there. And what is particularly nice is also that our campus is so close to the city center and to all these parks and this nice atmosphere. Overall, Braunschweig is maybe not, it belongs to the largest cities in Germany, but the largest city in Germany is maybe not large compared to other countries. So here we have about 250,000 inhabitants. And the advantage is that as soon as you leave the city bounds, you really have quite and great places to stay. Some more impressions from the city. You're starting in with the medieval lion here, the historic castle, the old church of the dukes. But of course, then if we proceed in time, then we end up here in mid of 18th century. This is also a castle of these dukes, but nowadays, quite funnily, this is not used as a castle anymore. There are no dukes. Nowadays, it's a shopping mall, so you can go for shopping in a castle. Actually, very unique. And here we are at the university. That's a house of science, which is where all the official ceremonies of the university take place. And there are, of course, many other stuff. This is the student house where we also would end up actually as students at TU Braunschweig. And here we have the research campus at the airport of Braunschweig. I would also like to draw your attention here to this picture. Again, in pandemic times, there are no one being there, but actually it's a really vibrant city with many bars, pubs, restaurants to sit inside and outside. Well, mostly during summer, not during October, maybe. And also here, it's an impression to how it looks at the university in front of the main building. If there are people around, this is the TU night, and it's the night where the doors are open for the public here with some shows and presentations. All right, as already said, there's also beautiful places in and outside of the city bounds, and maybe I would like to point special attention here on the activities water-based, even though the river is not so big, but there are quite nice things you can do there. You can go for rafting, and if that's too wild for you, then if you prefer to have something more, some slower activities, then you can rent out a paddle boat and paddle around the city center where the water is luckily calm. All right, some practicalities about living in Braunschweig. And of course, living expenses might be an important thing for international students typically. And one important measure for that is typically the rents for apartments. And here I brought the map of Germany, where you see the more red, the more expensive to live. And typically it's rather expensive in the south and of course in the big capitals and cities. And here in Braunschweig, we are roughly here. Next to Hanover, we are a bit in an orange area. And if you look closer, now comparing the TU9 cities, starting from Munich, going down to Dresden, and we see that here, when it comes to living expenses, Braunschweig is pretty attractive. In particular, if you compare that to the typical income in that region, which is of course heavily dominated by all these very successful and well-renewed industry like Volkswagen and other companies. So on that scale, we are pretty far to the left. So overall, this seems to be quite a good trade-off between income in average and the living expenses here. And even more extreme, if you now see Wolfsburg, where the headquarters of Volkswagen is, then obviously if you get a job there, you might have a chance to have a really good income there. Yeah, Braunschweig is also Europe's, or assigned as Europe's most active research area by Eurostat. So that's the statistics division of the European Union, actually, which balances the money spent for research and development compared to the per head income, or the GDP. We see that even though Braunschweig is maybe not so super well known as a city, but obviously this region seems to be very successful. And one part of this success is obviously also TU Braunschweig, which is not standing alone in research, but there are many research centers connected to that. I would like to mention in particular DLR, for instance, because that's closely related to engineering. That's the German Aerospace Agency, which is having a campus here in Braunschweig. We have the PTB, which is called in German Physikalisch-Technische Bundesanstalt. They are doing high precision measurements there. They're the experts there to doing that. For instance, measuring very small but precise masses. And in times of the pandemic, then also this Helmholtz Center for Infectious Diseases used to be very prominent, at least in the German ecosystem, because there are a lot of experts are working in that field. But there are many others. I don't want to go too much into the detail. Instead, I would like to tell you something about the university, which is actually one of the oldest one in Germany. It was established in mid of 18th century as called Collegium Carolinum, at that time founded by the Duke. Probably his name was Charles, I guess. And then after some renamings, we ended up 50 years ago with the term Technische Universität Braunschweig, or Braunschweig University of Technology. Nowadays, we are responsible at the university level for 84 degree programs on the bachelor and the master level. We have typically around 3,600 students starting each year their studies here. And overall, we tend to have between 18 and 20,000 students here in Braunschweig. So it's not a super large university, but I think for us at least, it seems to be an advantage when it comes to relation between number of students and number of teachers. From an organizational point of view, the university is structured into 6 faculties with 120 institutes and altogether 2,300 researchers working here. A few words about the faculties. Many of them, they are involved in the CSE program. Let me start with the 𝘗𝘪𝘵𝘗𝘪𝘥 University. That's for mathematics, computer science, economics, and social sciences. There's also a very prominent name. Maybe many of you maybe have come across the name of Gauss before when it comes to numerical integration or integration by parts and stuff like that. Famous mathematician from earlier times. And actually, he went to school here in Braunschweig, and this school is still existing and still acting as a school. Then we have the Faculty of Life Sciences, the Faculty of Architecture, Civil and Environmental Engineering, which is also heavily involved in CSE, Mechanical Engineering, Electrical Engineering together with Physics, and finally, Humanities and Educations. And out of those 6, 4 of them, Mathematics, Computer Science, Architecture, Civil and Environmental Engineering, Mechanical and Electrical Engineering, all of them, they're involved in the master program. You see, this is most likely a pretty fantastic or a very nice broad scope of the program. Finally, some words on the core research areas of the university before I continue with the master program. The core research areas are there to bundle, to coordinate the research activities across the university. And there are 4 of them. The first one is closely related to the engineering. Obviously, it's mobility. Historically, of course, a lot driven by the industrial applications here in that region on the automotive industry, but as prominent also in aerospace engineering, and nowadays also quite some activities when it comes to mobility on rails. The second one is metrology. This is about high precision measurements. We have infections and therapeutics. And I think that it explains by itself. And again, closely related to many aspects in engineering, future cities. And here, in particular, civil and environmental engineers, together with architects, are heavily involved to develop concepts how the cities are prepared for the future challenges when it comes to climate change and so on. Yeah, but now finally some words on our master program. Probably you have already gotten some information from our web pages, Computational Science and Engineering, because there was a question in the chat, maybe just responding to that. What is the difference between computational sciences and computer sciences? I would say here the pronunciation should be on engineering. So it's about computational and modeling techniques for engineering applications. So there's a strong focus on engineering. Nevertheless, there are aspects from mathematics and applied computational science are involved. So overall, this is very interdisciplinary, this master program, and gives a lot of flexibility and freedom to choose topics. It's obviously also an international master program, but which is a bit special, and we are very proud of that. It's this bilingual concept, which means in practice that it's not fully taught in English. It means the first year is fully taught in English, and the second year is mostly taught in German, not completely, but mostly. The idea behind that is not that we are too lazy to teach in English. The idea behind that is that on the German job market, in particular in engineering, that language skills in German are still very beneficial to get good positions and to get into this labor market. And therefore, we would like to support our students and graduates by providing those language skills. And of course, what we are doing is part of all the innovative things we do here in our core research areas, which I have shown you on the previous slide. What we're having when it comes to the organization of the daily life and supporting the students is a mentoring concept. That means that for each student that is enrolled in our program, there's a mentor, which is a senior or a professor level, which is a partner to support the students when it comes to deciding about the program, which is giving advices and also supporting to develop career plans to the future. Altogether, we have 4 specialization areas according to the 3 engineering disciplines represented here and computational mathematics. And the choices of that are pretty flexible, which means that one can also pick modules from the different areas, and you can basically develop in certain constraints your own program if you like. And finally, typically we have 40 to 50 students starting each year. That means this program is not super big, but I think it's very good to have a very direct relation to the teachers here. That's at least our ambition. Yeah, talking about the skills we would like to provide to our students and graduates. So what we think is that, that's our goal, that the CSE graduates are ready to employ their knowledge in the development of emerging technologies. And by the construction that we have so many different areas involved there in engineering and computational mathematical sciences, everything is very interdisciplinary, and that's something which is also a strength of our graduates, that they're able to plan and deal with such projects in interdisciplinary teams. And as I already said concerning the language in particular, we think that's really a strength that enables the students and graduates to embark for a career on the German labor market. And of course, as specialists in modeling and simulation, that's our profile. And another important aspect, of course, because we are a research university, is that, of course, we are also interested in attracting the best students to stay at the university, to continue as PhD students and to run their doctoral studies together with us. And just to give you an idea where our graduates, what profiles or what type of jobs our graduates start after their master, you see quite often something like finite element analyst, simulation engineer, automotive professional, software development, but quite often it's something about engineering, obviously, and not the least PhD researcher. That's also important in our profile. And if you have a look on the companies, and now we're not talking about employees and the university, but in industry, you see many very prominent representatives of this German industry landscape, like Bosch, Volkswagen, Audi, Airbus, the German Aerospace Agency, and so on. And you see many German companies, which is for us a proof that our bilingual concept is working out. Yeah, the structure of the CSE program, in short, altogether 120 credits have to be achieved, which is split into 4 main blocks. The first is the basic core courses, which is where there's not so much freedom to select as later on, of course. It's about the foundations of natural and engineering sciences and mathematics and computational sciences, altogether worth 30 credits. The second block is about elective core courses, so a bit more freedom, obviously, computational methods and applied math, scientific computing, 25 credits. And then comes the most prominent block, even though it's printed small here, specialization, 35 credits, which is consisting of 2 parts. One is a project, and the second one, again, courses in a specialization area, and finally the master thesis. And this is how it distributes over the typically 4 terms at TU Braunschweig. Finally, few words on application and admission. I mean, not very surprising that you need a bachelor degrees to enter the master program. Typically, this should be in engineering sciences, natural sciences, mathematics, or computer science. What is important is that to be aware that our focus is somehow always directed towards engineering. That's why this should be somehow mirrored in your bachelor's degree already, this or that way. Language requirements: English, that's B2 C1 or higher, or TOEFL with at least 79 points. And that's related to our German or bilingual profile, the German certificate DSH1, but you don't need to bring that. This is to be achieved latest after the 3rd semester. What you need for application is that you need to prove level A1 or, and later on upon arrival, level A2. Exemptions are for those who have had education in German before, but you can find more information about our admission site, or you can ask Annika in the chat. And time-wise, the application period for next winter term, which is from now in roughly 1 year in October. This starts in January, and for EU residents, this will end in July, and for non-EU residents, it's a bit earlier in March. With that, I would like to close for now. I'm really looking forward to see at least some of you at 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥 Braunschweig next year, and hopefully not only here in the lecture rooms, let's hope we can be in the lecture halls, but also on these nice social events at the university and beyond. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. It was a really interesting presentation, and you have already answered many of the questions which were visible in Q&A section. Ms. Kleinwachter was also actively answering the questions, so thank you very much for this as well. I also have a slide for you. So here we can see Dr. Stefan Solbrig, who is spokesperson for the study program, and the study program is computational science. We had lots of questions. What's the difference between computational science and computer science? It was partially answered already, but maybe you could, maybe it's already a part of your presentation, and you could also elaborate a bit on that. And again, we have a map to see the University of Regensburg, and again, international outlook of the university. So I'm sure Professor Solbrig will be happy to see some of you, Dr. Solbrig, sorry, will be happy to see some of you, all of you, some of you in the following semester.
Okay, thank you very much. I am not professor, and for legal reasons I have to state this. Yes. So let me share my screen. You should be able to see my screen now. It's visible?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, so I'm presenting the program of computational science. It's at the University of Regensburg. Here's an impression of the campus. So it's a modern campus built in the 70s, late 60s, 70s. Regensburg is a medium-sized city in the south of Germany, as you already saw on the map, at the Danube River, as you see in the picture. It's kind of in between the cities of Munich and Nuremberg, which you might know. Yeah, Munich from the football club, and Nuremberg for the Swedes. And it has actually a very nice medieval city center with lots of bars, restaurants, and shops. So it's the place to be at in the evening. But let me talk about our computational science program. So this actually is a joint program of 3 departments, of the departments of physics, of mathematics, and medicine. And here in this program, we emphasize computer-based methods, simulations or machine learning. It's not computer science, so the emphasis in our case is on science, and it's it's not an engineering program either. So our emphasis, as we are a university, is on fundamental research with an emphasis on computer-based methods, which are very prominent in these 3 departments. Our Master in Computational Science is a full-time program, usually with presence. The first year with Corona, we did mostly via Zoom, but now we resumed classes in presence. It's a fairly new program. The first class was in the winter semester 2013-2014. As with most master programs, the regular duration is 4 semesters, and in these you earn a total of 120 credit points. It's possible to start in the summer or in the winter, both is possible. The program is completely in English, and typically you have courses from the 3 areas, from genomics, from mathematics, and from physics. As I said, it's a relatively small program. Until now, we had 24 alumni. The goal of this program is that it should correlate with the university's emphasis on high-performance computing, and it should both enable the students to work in the industry, especially in research and development, or as well as possible to pursue an academic career, which is after your master, you can do a PhD, depending on which courses you take during the master. We emphasize computer-based methods, simulations, statistics, machine learning, or high-performance computing. We have our own computer clusters here where you can run the programs you write. And it's planned to be to connect the various areas, which you will see in a later slide. What do we do for research in this area? Of course, high-performance computing as such, computer-aided models of genetic mechanisms, mathematical models of image processing. On the physics side, there is also modeling of electronic properties. On the micro and nano scale, there's a very large solid-state group at the university here. And from the genomic side, there's also computer-aided description of the dynamics of tumors, cancer. And myself, I'm from this group, I'm from the particle physics group at the University of Regensburg, and we do the simulation of strong interaction in physics. It's just here an example, for example, the mathematicians also do applied mathematics here, not only pure mathematics. For example, they do simulation of crystals. On the physics area, one of the prominent areas where I'm from, we do the so-called lattice quantum chromodynamics. That's the simulation of the strong interaction, one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature. And the goal is to find a difference between simulation and experiment, because this is a sign for the so-called new physics, because we know they have the standard model of particle physics, but we know that this is not complete, that there is something missing. So we are looking for the missing parts, for the missing particles of these strong interactions, which is the force that binds quarks into protons and neutrons. The genomics, people in our university are very much also concerned with the simulation or analysis of tumor data and gene expression data, building models. This goes in the machine learning direction, typically. We also are running our own high-performance computer resources. These 2 computers here are, this one is historic. This computer is no longer functioning. This was a joint development together with IBM. This computer QPace-2 was a joint project together with Eurotech from Italy. And the other 2 computers are still running. This QPace-3 is a large facility of a total of 8 racks. It's located at a different site, but it's also mainly used for lattice chromodynamic simulations, but also from other groups. And this QPace-4 is our latest computer, It's based, Fujitsu based, with running the ARM architecture. And this is where we run our simulations in Regensburg. So this is located directly in Regensburg. The concept of this master program is an interdisciplinary concept. That is, you cannot only take courses from one, you have to take courses at least from 2 fields. So we have 10 mandatory lectures, and out of these 10, you have to choose 3, but you cannot choose all 3 from the same subjects. Yeah. So if you specialize in physics, for example, you take lattice QCD and molecular dynamics, then you have to take either one from the genomics area or one from the math. If you specialize in mathematics, you can take courses in applied math 2 and math 1. But then you have to take either one course in genomics or one course in lattice QCD. So the idea is that you are not only specializing in one subject, but that you are learning kind of to look at the broader picture and also take courses from different subjects to learn how the other departments are working. And this will earn you about 30 credit points, which you will add up with other courses from the sciences where you have a great liberty to choose from. And this will add up to 60 credit points. And of course, at the end, you will write your thesis, which is a major part of the master, that you are working scientifically independently on a complex subject. As I said, this is not a computer science program. The emphasis is based on science. So as a prerequisite, you require a strong background in at least one of the fields. So either a very good math background, direction of functional analysis, and or a very good physics background, as all computational physics we do in Regensburg is somehow connected to quantum mechanics. Either the strong interactions or the solid state physics, we require a really good background in quantum mechanics. Or if you specialize in the genomics direction, you should come with the already present background in genomics or bioinformatics. Just a word of warning, we get quite a lot of applications from engineers. The mathematics in engineering is usually not enough. So if you're applying for the math direction, then you need a really math background as you have from a bachelor in mathematics. Applications are usually by email to my email address. It's possible to start in the winter and in the summer. So deadlines are January 15 or June 15. Typically, there's only a small administrative fee. Generally, in Germany, the programs do not require a study fee. But to this program, there is no financial support directly connected. Application is fairly easy. You need your curriculum, letter of motivation, and your university transcripts. That's the most important part, because here we can judge what your background in science actually is. And an English language certificate, we do not require German. The program is completely in English. However, once you're here, you should actually take a German language course just to manage daily life. This is a website where you'll find all the details for the application process. So that's for the computational science in Regensburg. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for helping during some technical issues. There were some questions also directed to the study program. I have noted them down, and at the end of the webinar during our Q&A live session, I will ask all the panelists to participate. Right now, I think Ms. Liegl is with us.
Yeah, sorry, my whole laptop just broke down. I hope it's working now.
things happen. So not to overwhelm the computer, do you want me to share the presentation or would you?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I hope you can all see the screen.
Thank you. Today I want to present our artificial intelligence program. And I'm representing the director of studies. I'm his personal assistant, and I'm also teaching on campus itself. Campus CAM is a branch. It's affiliated to the Deggendorf Institute of Technology. Next slide, please. Also, the Deggendorf Institute of Technology is the most research-oriented university throughout Bavaria because of our unique concept of research and technology campuses, which are all affiliated to the Deggendorf Institute, but are focused on different fields. Next slide, please. We are also the most international university with approximately 20 to 30% of students coming from all over the world. Also, we have a lot of English taught programs only, and also a wide range, a vast network of partner universities throughout the globe. Next slide, please. One more click. Yeah, thanks. We are also organizing a lot of international events. For example, in Deggendorf, we are organizing the Taste the World event where everybody cooks and sells their food to whoever is interested. On Campus CAM, on the right-hand side, we also improvised a international event. But as we have a very small kitchen, we had to do something else. That's why we chose to have a traditional day where everyone wore their traditional attire, country-specific attire, which was a really nice day. Here you can see an overview of all the technology campuses that are affiliated to the DIT. Of course, our heart today belongs to Campus CAM, which is focused on mechatronics and automation. Our neighbor is the Health Campus in Bad Kötzting, which is focusing on digital health topics. Teisnach is focused on sensorics, as well as measuring technology and high frequency technology. Spiegelau is focused on glass technology. Grafenau is focused on digitalization, artificial intelligence, and big data. Freyung is focused on applied computer science as well as bionics. Huttrum is known for simulation. Plattling is the campus for modern mobility. Then we have 3 teaching campuses, one of which is Campus CAM, Deggendorf Institute of Technology, which is the mother campus, and the European campus in Rottal-Inn, which only provides English taught topics. Also, Weißenburg is a plastics campus, focused on plastics. All right. We are also gaining 2 more campuses, which are currently in building. One of which is Vilshofen, which is focused on protection, detection, reaction. So exposing cybersecurity threats and trying to intervene. And also Oberschneiding is a new campus, which is focused on startups and helping students to promote their own startups. Next slide. Studying in CAM, actually, CAM is not as big a city as the other 2 you might have heard, but there are some advantages to living in a smaller city, because actually the moderate living expenses are to be mentioned. If you compare those to Regensburg, Munich, or Nuremberg, you can see that you can save a lot of money here. Also, because the campus is very small, we have around 350 students. You can directly talk to the lecturers. You can approach them without waiting weeks in order to get a reply by email. You can simply talk to them on the hallway. Also, we have a lot of lecturers who are working in a company themselves. So you can have the practical approach, you can have tips by them, seeing how which skills you really need to work in the industry and be successful in there. Also, we are trying to be in tune with the times in terms of our lecture content. We are trying to modernize as much as possible. Also, there's a low student union membership of 62 euros per semester, but that's everything you need to pay actually. And also we have a vast network of regional industrial partners, for instance, from the Mechatronics Competence Forum, and the Campus CAM is also part of this forum. Next slide, please. We have three programs currently. One bachelor's program, which is completely taught in German, but we are trying to implement this program in English as well in the future. Then we have one master's program, Mechatronic and Cyber-Physical Systems, and our most current program, which only started last summer semester for the first time, which is Artificial Intelligence for Smart Sensors and Actuators. We also have the big advantage that we have a technology campus integrated into our study program, which is why we have a laboratory where students can work actively and gain a technical focus on things. So our lab is focused on three major columns. One is additive manufacturing with a lot of different technologies and additive manufacturing processes that students can gain practice on. Then we have a robotics lab, we have an optimization lab, and on top of this, we are currently opting to set up a sensor lab as well. There are several reasons to study with us. For example, robots are becoming more important every day. We can see them conquer each sphere of our life. Also our private lives. If you think you're driving with your car and your navigation system actually is based on artificial intelligence, for example, or on robotics. We are focusing on mega topics such as virtual reality, autonomous driving, as well as ambient assisted living. We all know that there's a huge shortage of health staff in hospitals, for example. So robots can actually assist humans in nursing or even take whole tasks on their own. Also, digitalization is increasing in everyday life as well. About this program especially, we have initially started the program last summer semester, and you have 3 semesters in order to study this program for the regular period, but we have experienced that many international students seek to extend their study time as much as possible, which is why you can write your master thesis until the end of your 5th semester. If you want, you can extend by 2 semesters, and you can extend by another 2 semesters if you choose to do a sabbatical semester. So let's say you have an internship for 1 year, then you can apply for 2 sabbatical semesters, and then your study time freezes and you can start off where you left. Also, this program is completely taught in English. There are German compulsory classes. You have to reach A2 level by the end of your studies. And you can also, if you have already achieved A2 level in German, you can also opt to attend higher classes, of course. There are many scientifically founded activities in the study program. So we are focusing on the quality assurance, research and teaching as well, creative works in departments of research and development, and also to transferring knowledge in vital topics such as machine learning, big data, robotics, and so on. Artificial intelligence really marks the path of the future. We can see it in most headlines of science papers nowadays, journals that are discovering the importance of artificial intelligence. That's why we decided to create this study program as well. AI-based systems are fed by sensor data to be processed actually, and in this program you will also have a mix of interdisciplinary activities. You will learn a lot about computer science. You will have the opportunity to attend C++, for example, or Python lectures by side. Or you will also learn about robotics. You will learn about different kinds of sensors and actuators, so it's a very vast field. Smart sensors actually feature signal pre-processing, monitoring algorithms, also connectivity, which might ring a bell for most of you if you think about Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 5G. And these smart actuators actually supplement these smart sensors, so they control intervention with signal processing, and they further enhance the performance of these devices. There are current global topics which we want to tackle within the framework of this course. For example, machine learning with neural networks, sensor technology, as well as cloud computing or big data, system design. There are countless topics we want to tackle in this program. Here you can see the table, the overview of the study subjects you will have. So first of all, you will start off with the basics. So you will be introduced to artificial intelligence. You will be introduced to machine learning, deep learning, microsystems. And you might wonder what these case studies actually mean that are in between. Basically, case studies, they are the practical component of the study program. And you can see we have a lot of them because there is no mandatory internship unless you can see in the bachelors, we have a mandatory internship, but here we want to have the practical focus within the case studies. So actually you will work within a company on these case studies or on campus with a topic which is actually of importance to us. It's no meaningless work you will do because there might be something in the lab we want to fix or we want to update. So you will program something for us, and actually this will be a meaningful activity then for you, and you will be put into study groups, and then afterwards you will present your subject, your project, and you will document it in theoretical form as well. In the second semester, you start off with different topics like big data, another case study, and also robotics. And in the third semester, you can see there are just 2 subjects left because you need to focus on your final master thesis in the third semester. As I mentioned before, there are actually case studies are actually integrated in 4 out of 7 modules. So there's a high practical relevance to this program, actually. And I just heard from Professor Wittmann that he is currently gave students the task to program a chatbot for CampusCon. Where the chatbot is fed with detailed information about the campus and the study programs, and then you can chat with this robot basically on the website itself and find the directions. And this is a very practical project, and you can see it will be reflected on our website. So actually it has a meaning behind it. There's also a technical elective subject you can choose. There's a catalog of subjects you can choose from, around 10 at the moment. We always try to update them as well. Just an example, Python, for example, C++, industry and automation, tele-experiments with mobile robots. There are a lot of courses which are actually provided by the Virtual University of Bavaria, but also several courses which are provided by the DIT, for example, quantum computing. Our alumni currently work in vast fields. This is just a small selection. For example, software development, plant special construction, electronics development, control engineering, or system and device development. But there's a lot more where you can work. Career prospects are possible in the sectors of automotives, as well as aerospace, robotics, medical environment, manufacturing, material processing, and you will gain experience on not just robotics or artificial intelligence, but also marketing, customer care, consulting, quality control, product development. So you're not just focused on one specific field, but you are actually studying this program as an interdisciplinary program. So you are able to be employed in different fields as well, not just one. For the admission requirements, I know a lot of you ask about the GPA or a certain average you need or a percentage. That is not required for us because we have a so-called aptitude assessment test where we will invite you upon your application to write this aptitude assessment online together with Proctor.eu. These are 30 questions based on computer science questions or physics, mathematics, so very basic questions you should have learned in your bachelor studies. And based on this very test, we select the candidates and not based on the GPA. You need a bachelor's degree in a relevant subject area, so computer science is fine, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, anything related to this. And as I mentioned before, you need a German language competence of A2 in accordance with the European Framework of Languages, and a minimum of B2 in English because it's taught in English. We are also offering consultation sessions. Just mail me, or also taste the studies if you're interested. I can send you a link of a certain study program of a certain subject, and then you can see hands-on what this lecture is like. For the application period, we will start next semester on the 15th of March. And the application period is from 15th November to 15th of January next year. And you will be then invited to the application, to the aptitude assessment. And then you will have the result of your application by mid-February. You can do everything online. You don't need to send us any paperwork. So just do the application online, upload your CV, upload your documents, and that's it. And your point of contact is Ms. Fries for the application portal itself. At the end, last but not least, this is an overview of the links of our 3 study programs. The last one is the study program I was just presenting. And this is a central email address, the second one, where you will reach both my colleague Susanne as well as me, because there might be the case that one of us is on holiday, so you will get a very fast reply. Thanks a lot for your attention, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. So let me invite all the presenters to have a small, short Q&A session. I saw that over 50 questions were answered online in chat, so this is really great. Thank you, everyone. During the last time, I was not following so much closely because of the shared screen. However, whatever I already have noted down, I would like to ask you those questions. So first of all, there were many questions regarding the previous degree, some technical things about language requirements. Dear attendees, I would like to tell you that Annette or also program representatives were sharing the links in chat, so you can see all the requirements there in detail. So you can see them on our page as well, and mainly on the study programs pages. So let's not stop on this question, because it was already presented during presentation and also answered individually when applicable. We had several things which were not tackled during the presentation, or which I would like to ask you. First was about the age limit. Do you have any age limit to your study programs? Yeah, no age limit. Everyone is super welcome. So go ahead, apply, start your application today. Then we had another interesting question about the importance of work experience, or how the work experience would advance my profile when applying to your study program.
I can tell something for TU Braunschweig. There, the work experience is not a requirement, but not the disadvantage either. Yeah.
I can agree on this as well. It's a benefit to have, but it's not a requirement.
For Regensburg, this is of no importance if you have work experience or not.
Thank you. And then another very also interesting question, which came for the first time I encountered this question for the first time, is how would you assess the competitiveness of your study program? So it's really interesting I know like you shouldn't be mentioning the numbers, how many applications you get. However, how would you assess how competitive is your study program? Or is it very hard to get in? Of course, it depends on the profile of a student, CV, previous degree, but if the person qualifies and has an average, for example, candidature or portfolio, because we also mentioned sometimes that there are some universities where, for example, there are 200 applications and only 10 will get in. So this kind of things, maybe I think people are worried also.
As for the Deggendorf program, I can say it's highly competitive actually, which is why we introduced the aptitude assessment to give everybody a fair chance to gain a seat. We have approximately 2,000 applicants for this program. So we had to find a fair measure. And we take around 60 to 70 students.
Yeah, and Braunschweig, it's of course also competitive, that's for sure, because I think everyone agrees here from the presenters that everyone is interested to pick the best candidates, obviously, that's part of the business. Therefore, if you feel that you have deficiencies in some topics or in the grade, then the more important is to motivate why this is the right choice for you and why you are the person who must get an offer to start there. Yeah.
So for Regensburg, competitive in the sense, I cannot give any details on the number of applications for protection reasons, but the main point, the point I want to emphasize is that I noticed that many people are confused by the title of the program and mistake it for computer science, which is not. Yeah. The University of Regensburg will install a computer science department. They are in the process of building it, but it's not functioning yet. The computational science is really focused on science and on fundamental science. So it's neither computer science nor engineering. And this is a common misunderstanding. So you really want to have people who have experience at the university bachelor level at fundamental science. This is the hard part.
Thank you very much. Ms. Liegl, we have several questions regarding this aptitude assessment, I think. Could you please tell us if students can get some sample questions? Or yeah.
It's actually based on around 30 questions, which are all random. So it's not just the 30 questions all around, but we have around 1,000 questions, which will all rotate, of course. And you will be supervised by a staff member of ProctorU, which is a US organization. And you will write this test, I think it lasts 90 minutes. And you can do an optional language test as well after this test. You will be asked the basics of mathematics, of physics, everything you need to know in order to be able to be successful in this program. And after your application, you get a link to register for this test, actually. And then when you are doing the test, you will be supervised. So basically, you can't cheat. Your camera is on all the time, and you need to turn your camera around the room as well, see if there is anybody in the closet or something. So there's no chance to cheat, and you shouldn't either. But we have had great experiences with students who have done the test because they say it's manageable. If you have done well in your bachelor's, then you should be able to do this test as well.
Just as a follow-up, because you just talked about this test, there is another question regarding the German language requirement. Should the student provide A2 during application or during enrollment?
Actually, the current requirement is that you can also submit your language certificate of A2 at a later point of time, but no later than your second semester.
Okay. Thank you. All 62 questions were answered. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the speakers and moderators, for your great help and being so active. So if any of you wants to add anything, you can do so. If not, then I have already taken a lot of your time and I'm a bit over time as well, so I apologize for this. Yeah, Professor Jänicke, you wanted to say something?
No, basically.
Just because I saw you unmuted yourself.
I just wanted to say thank you and for this great organizing this great meeting, and thanks everyone to join us here.
Thank you everyone for your time. We saw lots of grateful messages for sharing this time with us and for presenting the study programs. We know you have a very tough schedules, and especially since the semester has started, it's always very difficult to get time. And we are really grateful for your time and for your wonderful and active participation. And Annette has already shared some links. So if you like today's webinar and you got the I hope the webinar was as productive for you as it was for me, even though I'm not in the field, from the field. We would really like to have your assessment as well, dear attendees. So the direct links are already in the chat. And I thank again everyone for today and wish you all a nice time of the day, evening, morning, day, afternoon, depending on where in the world you are. Bye-bye.